It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, July the 15th. Happy anniversary to that song from that album. Back in Black, AC/DC came out on this day in 1980. My math tells me that is 43 years ago. And my math tells me that 43 years before that was 1937.
Okay.
We're still listening to AC/DC,
Yes.
and it still makes me excited and still feels fresh. When AC/DC released Back in Black, what was happening on the Billboard charts in 1937? Yes, we have no bananas or some nonsense like that. I mean, just think about how much the world changes in 43-year chunks.
Glenn Miller was killing it.
Yeah, but Back in Black is still working for me. So anyway, that's the biggest selling rock album worldwide of all time. So how about that one for the young lads out of Australia? Happy anniversary to the great Back in Black.
Not bad.
And speaking of the young lads, not from Australia, but now of the Minnesota Vikings, we mentioned on Friday at great length the fact that Jordan Addison was popped doing 140 miles an hour on Interstate 94 in St. Paul Thursday night. 140 in his new Lamborghini. And, of course, we were like, oh, come on, dude, get it together. What are you, crazy? And then we were also saying, well, hell, if I was 23 and had $14 million in a Lamborghini, I'd probably be speeding too. But we were a little too harsh to judgment because now word has come out. What did we say on Thursday? He clearly wasn't drunk because we would have heard about it.
Yeah.
He clearly wasn't stoned. We would have heard about it. What we have heard is that he told the officer, I'm sorry for speeding, but I have a dog emergency at home I've got to get back to. An unclear, undisclosed dog emergency. So
now I want to get hard on him.
To which I say, nice effort, kid. I see you working. You know, the cop's not going to care if he says, I got a girlfriend issue. The cop's not going to care if he says, I got a weird burglar alarm going off. But he knows right away, well, if I say my dog's in peril, then no one's going to judge me too harshly for there. And again, I say, I see you working, kid, and I appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
You get a police escort for that, don't you? For dog
you would
emergency?
think. Let me tell you something. If you're going to go 140 miles an hour anywhere in America, but especially in a large metro area, he was not in rural Wyoming. He was in St. Paul, Minnesota, doing 140. If you're going to lean on dog emergency, the emergency better be that your dog is holding some cops hostage. That's about the only way I think that cop's going to buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. My dog has two of your fellow officers locked in a room, and his fangs are bared, and they don't know what to do. That's about the only chance you have of getting out of that one.
Yeah, because the dog card doesn't play with the police officer. Quite to the contrary. He might be like, all right, idiot, if we're going with the dog excuse, we're going to throw the book at you. But I get it as I know I keep giving him a pass. I came in on, Friday with this same, he's a young man, he's got a Lamborghini. Sure. I would have done the same thing. I'm not going to throw stones in the glass house. But it's, I remember I used to get pulled over when I was young. I've been pulled over a few times in my life. Something about that lead foot.
Sure.
And I would always weave some tale. You know, it never worked with Dad, whatever screwy excuse I would blather on about never seemed to work. And it certainly didn't work with the police officers. Now it's like, oh, sorry, I just wasn't paying attention, officer. But as a young man, you feel like you've got to excuse your way out of it. I have a good excuse for they don't care, man.
Well, you got to at least try. You gotta put some effort into it. I mean, it's impossible for, again, to your point, at the age of 22, 23, 24 in those years, if I got pulled over, and I did get pulled over, it would have been impossible to simply go, officer, I'm really sorry. Oh, my gosh. When I looked down and saw the speedometer, I was in shock. You know, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
In my 30s, I used to love that one. I couldn't believe how fast I was going. You got me, nailed me. Because after a while, you realize, who am I kidding? This guy doesn't care. He's not going to get me out of this. I'm not talking my way out of this. My mom, however, genius. She kept the registration of the car always tucked into the New Testament in the glove compartment.
Oh, boy.
My mom would make honest to God, St. Imelda would pull she would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, officer," and she'd open the glove compartment and she would pull out, like, look through it, and she'd go, "Let's see," and she would pull out her Bible and here it is.
Boy.
Oh, it fell in there. And I don't know if it ever really worked, but I saw her do it a few times. We were in South Carolina once in a town called Monk's Corners. And if it was just a Sunday morning early, Leadfoot Imelda had a 12-hour drive back to Kentucky, pulled that thing out. Guy was so charmed.
Yeah.
And I can't honestly remember. He may have just I think he just gave her the warning. Definitely, I think he gave her a written warning, but he was just so like, "Well, Miss Imelda, you be careful driving all the way back to Kentucky now." By the end of it, it was incredible.
Well, yeah, that's just
adorable.
bad karma to give a sweet old lady with a Bible in the vehicle a ticket.
Well, she was she was 50 then. She wasn't an old lady.
Wow.
She was a kid. She was still just like, she was working the angles.
That plays in the Bible Belt.
Oh, it certainly does.
They do say, though, that if you just go with the blunt, honest truth, sometimes the officers appreciate that you're just being so honest. That
I
they're
think
gonna,
so.
I think probably to a point he was going 140 in a 55.
There's no the 80. You're going you would be ticketed for going 85.
Right.
You're being pulled over for going 85 over the speed limit. That's just a whole nother level.
I wonder if he had just said, "Hey, listen, I'm the first-round draft pick of the Minnesota Vikings. Not that matters, but they just gave me millions of dollars and a big signing bonus. And as you can see, I went out and bought myself a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And it's 3:00 in the morning, and I thought, officer, I would hammer down but he can't cut you a break at 140 and a 55.
Officer, this is one of those moments as a young man where I'm recognizing the word hubris comes to mind, and I'm thinking that maybe I've bought into something I shouldn't have. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Candace, have you ever been pulled over for speeding?
No, but I got a call. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I have.
No,
but the
yes,
time
maybe.
that I was speeding, and I got a call on the request line by a nice police officer, and he said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I saw you going a little fast this morning, and I'm a big fan of the show. I pulled you up, and I'm a big fan of the show, so I let it slide this time, but slow down, girl," pretty much.
Friendly, also kind of creepy. Just going to say, kind of creepy, copper.
I wonder if anyone else has ever received a warning over the request line here at KQ92.
I've got a request that Candace Wheeler keep it at the speed limit.
Well, I think he just was like, I don't want to make her late to my favorite show.
Candace, could I hear Sammy Hagar's "I Can Drive 55," please? Tony, last time you got a speeding ticket?
Wasn't that long ago. Of course, it was Wisconsin State Trooper. They don't mess around.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! On the drive up in February with Rosemary and the pets, we did the long haul, the 900 miler in one shot. When I hit Wisconsin, I mean, I'm in the final hurdle of this long full day drive, and I'm like, all right, I'm in Wisconsin. This is the final stretch. Let's go. No, there were 50 cops. I couldn't believe it, and thankfully I had the app up. It's showing me all the cops. I was like, how many cops are not on 94 in Wisconsin right here? It was incredible.
Yeah.
They're at the ready.
Man, they are ready to roll. Has anybody ever successfully BS'd your way out of a speeding ticket? I'd love to hear about it if you have. What's your story? What's the go-to? And don't tell me, "I told the cop I had diarrhea." We could all come up with that one. Give me something creative.
I have one just this past summer over the 4th of July weekend driving back out to South Dakota, but I'm going to hang on to it. It's not sensational, very sensational. Someone can easily beat this one, but I did do a little jibber jabber, and by God, I got out of it. I got a warning, just a verbal warning on that deal. So let's hear them on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line. Talk your way out of a ticket, cry your way out of a ticket, dog emergency your way out of a ticket. 651-989-ROCK. Mike Evans feeling better today and is back with us here at 6:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was Aerosmith, "Dude Looks Like a Lady," the song that led our next guest, Mike Evans, to cut that long, luscious hair once and for all. Mike is with us. It is time for the Hollywood Report. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, good morning. My voice is about gone, but I'm here, so bear with me if you will.
Oh, you sound great, brother.
Thanks, man. Hey, this report brought to you by Marcus Theaters. Don't forget, Marcus is proud to announce Value Tuesday, $6 for any movie and 20% off all concessions. And don't forget, we want you to remember that the Oakdale Cinema, the South Bridge Crossing Cinema, and the Rosemount Cinema are better than ever. Check them out. Okay.
And I think today is Tuesday, so today is Value Tuesday. Right on.
There you go. We got some love nuggets. So it is true, 37-year-old Russian model actress Irina Shayk and 45-year-old Tom Brady, they are dating. But, Steve, she's been known to love him and to dump him at the drop of a hat.
Okay.
Just ask soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo or Kanye West or Bradley Cooper.
I've never heard of her before. You just said her name. I have no idea who you're talking about.
She has been on the cover of the swimsuit cover several times.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
More of a model than an actress.
Got it.
And talking about Hollywood relationships, how about this? The longest Hollywood marriage is between Meryl Streep and Don Gummer. They've been married 45 years and 3 months.
Isn't that nice?
It's very nice. Second longest marriage, Samuel L. Jackson and LaTanya Richardson, been married 43 years, 8 months. Shortest Hollywood marriage, I don't know if that's an honor or a disgrace, goes to Britney Spears and Jason Alexander. They were married 55 hours and 2 minutes.
Oh,
wow. Someone's got to be able to top that or bottom that or whatever you would call beating that limit. Yeah, come on, someone.
And it is true that Harry and Meghan are frantically looking to get out of their Monticello $14 million home in California.
I'll give them $8 million for it today, Mike.
They owe $10 million on it, though.
Well, listen, I didn't make the rules. I'm just telling you, I got an offer for $8.
They might take it. They're looking at $3 to $5 million homes in Malibu. They actually have no real income. They're living off fleeting savings, but it must be nice to have that kind of savings, though.
They're just drafting in turn 3, and there's still a lot of that race left, man. They didn't realize how long that track was.
Yeah, exactly. This should be the day that Kevin Spacey hears his fate from a London jury who started the deliberation yesterday morning. Two-time Oscar winner. I mean, he's made such great movies, L.A. Confidential, Seven, American Beauty, Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
He faces 80 years. Some of the charges were dropped if convicted. Here's a sidebar. Check this out, Steve. If and when he's cleared, Netflix will release a movie called Gore, which he just finished shooting before he got arrested, so it's been on the shelf. Ironically, Kevin plays Gore Vidal, and it's about Gore when he meets a very young man, takes him under his wing, and teaches him about life. How ironic is that?
Well, I was really hoping you were going to say he was playing Al Gore.
No, that would have been probably much more funny.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Another publicist list naming the 5 most creepy celebrities. I don't know what the parameters were, but their list. Number 5, Roseanne. 4, Johnny Depp. 3, Marilyn Manson. 2, Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, stop. She's an angel. I will hear none of this.
And number 1, Shia LaBeouf. What do you think of him?
Got no thoughts either way.
I used to be obsessed with him.
Really?
holes.
I haven't really seen him since that whole Project Greenlight thing. I watched that series on HBO and saw when he got his first break, but I don't know that I've seen him in anything since.
Yeah,
he did. They did the remake of Rear Window. I saw that movie, Suburbia.
I'm glad they don't have a list for radio guys.
That's all. Yeah.
Movie quickie overseas. Oppenheimer gets much better reviews than Barbie.
Well,
Sorry, Zach.
Those uptight Euros, they don't know a good time if it bites them on their.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
TV history and a book suggestion. A lot of people are not going to know what I'm talking about. The book is The True Scoop of the TV legend Ernie Kovacs. Do you remember him?
Ernie Kovacs, yeah. Sergeant, what's his name? Who did he play?
What's his face?
Yeah. Ernie Kovacs. It's one of those shows that was a little before my time, but everyone seemed to think highly of the guy.
He owned comedy in the 50s when television first came out. Very strange dude. His skits were so bizarre, they would be bizarre even by today's standard.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Great book, incredible story. If you get a chance, Ernie in Kovacs Land is the name of it.
Okay, fair enough.
You read any good books lately?
I've got a stack of books that I'm going through in order of purchase and or receipt.
Okay.
Right now, I'm reading the history of the band Devo, which is fascinating.
Right. There's another fascinating book sitting there for you to read. I know
Mike, you will be the first to know when I crack into your book, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
You got it.
Everybody have a great day. I'm glad I got through it. I'll be sounding better tomorrow. And
Hey, Mike, sir, real quick. Have you read any good books lately? Because someone else on this conversation wrote a book recently and released a book.
The book.
I see how it goes.
All right. It goes there.
All right. Yeah, check your mailbox.
I'll check it. Have a great day.
Fair enough. See ya. As long as we're hawking each other's books.
Sure.
Jeez.
Yeah. Fair.
Guys, you got me in a headlock over here.
Right. A situation I've never gotten myself into. Hey, have you read my book? No. Have you read mine? I've never had that
Yeah.
interaction with anyone before.
Well, all I know is this. There is a word called sundoku in Japanese. Tsundoku. Sundoku. And that is the stockpiling of books that will never be consumed.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
We've all got some sundoku. Not the number game, the books that you're never going to get around to.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison got pulled over doing 140 miles an hour Thursday night or Friday morning around 3 a.m. He told the trooper, I have a dog emergency at home. Not buying it for 1 minute here on the KQ Morning Show, but we love the effort.
Yeah.
And we asked if anybody had ever gotten themselves out of a ticket or into a worse whatever. You got a story about that? We'd love to hear it. And right now, we've got a few phone calls. Candace, who is on the horn?
Steve from Lubbock, Texas. Did I say that right?
Lubbock.
Sorry.
Steve, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're great. What do you got for us, brother?
It was about spring of 1991. I was working as a DJ for All Time Favorites Entertainment, doing wedding receptions and things like that.
Okay.
And after finishing the show, we dropped all the equipment off back at the headquarters and so forth down in Eagan. I go ahead and leave Eagan, driving back northbound on 35, and allegedly I was doing 70, 75-ish in a 55 zone.
Okay.
However, I did not realize the trooper was behind me at that time. He clocked me about right around 494 at that speed. As I got to the Mississippi River, I was in a Trans Am at the time, and of course, I punch it and start getting close to triple digits, and he thought I was trying to run. So I got to the bridge, right over the Mississippi River Bridge, and I realized, oh my God, that's a trooper behind me. He's like, I saw the dance floor, and this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
So I pull over off onto Shepherd on the exit there, and I'm just sitting there, and he walks up and goes, yeah, know why he pulls you over? And I just laughed and said, oh, absolutely. He goes, I said, I didn't even see you back there. And I was probably at about 125 at that time, where was the max I had hit. So he takes the license, goes back, does everything in the car, walks back up front, and he goes, why are you in such a hurry? And I explained I was just doing a show. I had a headache. I was just trying to get home, get some aspirin, and go to bed and leave it at that.
Right.
And he checked out the story. I guess he must have called down there, and sure enough, yeah, Steve was just here, and Steve just left, and he came back and goes, well, you have a good night, keep your record clean, and slow it down a little bit. And that was that.
Like down to like 100 or a headache? You used the headache excuse? Wow. That worked?
I used the headache excuse. Right. Absolutely. I was just trying to get home after doing the wedding reception.
Hold on. You left out the part where you handed him money.
Yeah, right.
Cold, hard cash.
All right.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess so. Steve, thank you for the call, brother. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I bet that was a paperwork deal.
Man,
the trooper was at the end of his shift and was like, I don't want to write another one up tonight.
Triplicate? No, right. I'm not doing anything in triplicate. The headache, man.
Yeah.
Who knew? Candace, who else have we got on the horn?
Becky from White Bear Lake.
Becky, good morning. Becky.
Good morning.
Rebecca.
I love you guys, especially Zappy Rocks.
Come on, what's going on in White Bear Lake up there, Becky? No, Becky doesn't want to.
Hello. No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Hello, dear.
Sorry.
I was listening for a toilet flush.
Good morning.
No, that's already been taken care of.
I had to go.
Oh, good.
Business first,
right.
Pleasure later. What do you got for us?
Oh, this is so great. Okay, so it was in the 90s, a little while ago, and I was at a bar off of Lexington and 694. Did a few shots, celebratory wedding thing or whatever. And I don't even know, 5 or 6 shots of tequila. And I'm like, oh, man, I better get home before this hits me. I won't be able to drive, right?
I would have lied.
I hope you live at Lexington and 694.
And then I lived in Mountain View, so I hop on 694, then I exit onto 35. And the state trooper kind of pulls up by me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he kicks it at and I go, well, I'm going to go behind him. I don't want to be in front of him, right? So then I get behind him, and then he kicks it 100 miles an hour or something. I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll go 100 miles an hour too.
All
I guess
right. So it's kicked in. Now the 5 shots have kicked in.
Right? No, they haven't yet. So then I'm driving, and I'm going to get off on County Road I because that's where I lived or whatever. He's like going like 110, 115. I'm like, oh, I don't know. He doesn't have any lights on or anything. I'll just follow him. All of a sudden, he pulls over. I scream by him, and he gets up behind me, puts his lights on, and I'm like, oh, shit.
I saw
Okay,
I saw Tom Cruise do that in the Top Gun movie.
Right.
That exact
Fast and
maneuver.
Furious.
That's
yeah,
right.
that's right. Yeah, he hits the brakes there, and now he's on your
sure.
6, and he's got you in the guns. He was baiting
Yeah,
you.
it was wild. So then I'm like, well, I don't want to pull over on the freeway. I'm just going to go a little farther. I have no idea what my mind is thinking. So I wait till my exit, County Road I. I get off. I pull off to the side. He gets out of the car, and he just starts screaming at me like my dad or something. Do you know how fast you were going? You were going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be 10 feet for every, one car length for every 10 miles. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Behind the person in front of you, and he's just going on and on. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And I go,
And you got a mariachi band playing in your head now with all the tequila coming in.
Yeah, no kidding. So I go, well, you were going fast too. And he goes, I was on a call.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
He had
he
a dog
goes,
emergency.
I go, don't you have to have your lights on or your siren or something if you're going screaming down the freeway at 100 miles an hour?
Becky.
And this is what I'm doing. I'm just talking my way out of this because I'm like, I'm in trouble. So then I go, what's your badge number?
Oh,
and
boy.
he's like, what? And I go, what's your badge number and your name? And I'm writing all this down, right? So he goes, do you have your license and registration? And I give him all that. Then he goes back to his car. He comes back, yells at me some more about how fast I was going. And I'm like, what was your supervisor's name again?
Wow.
And I'm
Jeez,
like,
Becky.
getting all this information. And then I open up my door. I look and I go, okay, your car number, blah, blah, blah. I write that down. He's like, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm just, just want this information just in case something happens or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the middle of nowhere here. And I go, your badge number is what? And I write it down again. And then he goes, you need to slow down. And he just walked away.
Okay, Becky, listen, I just want to say on behalf of the entire KQ Morning Show, we love you. We're glad you called. We want there to be no ill will.
Right.
Please don't ask for our supervisor's information. They're still asleep. I feel like this call's been pleasant between us. I feel like we were respectful, and I hope that that's how you record this, for future reference. We have to jump, but that is one hell of a story, Becky. Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
My gosh, that's a bold woman right there. I would not want to be in Becky's path. You did the right thing, Steve Gorman of the KQRS Morning Show. I just wanted to...
Three shots of tequila. She
knew who
would have
that
never
was.
had the stones to pull that one off. 6 shots. By the way, when she goes, I don't know, 5 or 6, it was 7.
Yeah.
7 shots of tequila. Oh, yeah, she's right up in his grill.
Like she was racing home to before it kicks in. I've just done a lot of shots. I better get out of here. This is going to hit me hard. The phones are lit up like a Christmas tree here. Are we going to? Should we drive on towards 7:00?
Yeah, hang. If you're on hold, stay
Yeah.
there. We'll get to you.
We will get to you on the Maple Grove Lock and Save Talk and Text line. Ever talked your way out of a ticket? KQ Morning Show wants to know. We'll share them here at 7:00. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Tuesday, July 25th. Good morning, Don Henley with the boys of summer. One of the boys of autumn. That would be, well, a football player. I'm just going to coin that term now. The Vikings, the boys of autumn. The boys of autumn, the Minnesota Vikings, their rookie hotshot wide receiver, Jordan Addison, as you probably heard last week, was popped in St. Paul doing 140 miles an hour on his Lamborghini on 94. That is 85 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. If he had been driving 85 miles per hour, he would have been ticketed and probably given a reckless endangerment type of charge. 85 miles per hour over the speed limit. Whoo, baby, that's big time. And Jordan Addison, it has now come out, told the trooper at the time, there's an emergency at home with my dog. And I got to say, I see you working, kid. Nice try. Solid effort. Went right for the old, you just pulling those heartstrings, saying your dog was in trouble. I think if the dog really were in trouble, we'd also be getting that story now, too. All we're hearing is that he tried to get out of it with that one. Sometimes those stories work. As we've discussed earlier in the show, there's a moment, and I think in everyone's life, when you finally just go, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
Guy comes up to the window, you hand him your license, you go, hey, sorry, I was flying. My bad.
Yep.
Had no idea.
Wasn't paying attention, got a little heavy on the accelerator there, officer.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. And
I got pulled over in Van Horn, Texas, which is way out west, in a Volvo station wagon in 2002. And the cop came up and said, I got you doing 90. And I said, this car, there's no way this car can go 90. And he looked at me and he went, I was like, I thought maybe he would believe. I don't know where that even came from. He went, okay, yeah, but it was. And I was like, yeah, I guess that really doesn't work when I was just doing 90. But it was a stretch of road where literally nothing happened for like 140 miles. It was just straight.
Yeah.
And I came over the one rise, the one little hill in 100 miles, and he was right on the other side of it.
I keep making eye contact. So I've been pulled over twice this year. I got tagged one time in Wyoming. And, you know, as I fly past the police officer, I've had these just weird moments. I look to my left, and he's sitting right there, perpendicular to the road, looking right at the road. And I make eye contact. I was like, I see, you see me. Oh, he's got me. Wyoming, I'm in the middle of nowhere. He nicked me because out-of-state plates. I know how it works out there.
Sure.
Then I'm going back to South Dakota, 4th of July weekend, and still out-of-state plates in South Dakota, even though I'm going home, and I'm blasting through town going 40 and a 30. Lights come on. But I was talking to my daughter about boring her with a story like, hey, did you know the South Dakota State in Brookings head coach was my coach in college? So when the officer asked, I said, I was just BSing with my daughter here about your head coach used to be my coach at Northern, and I just wasn't paying attention, officer. I apologize. Oh, you went to Northern? I went to Northern, too. Got out of that bad boy.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I walked away from that one. Not even a written warning. Thank you, officer.
Boy, I
so
like
and so
that.
out there, yeah. But
that's fantastic.
So sometimes it does work. I don't know.
Sometimes it works. We heard from a caller in the first hour, Becky, who said she had 6 shots of tequila and raced home before they kicked in, and decided to chase a cop doing 100.
Yeah.
And then badgered him out of a ticket once he pulled her over.
That's what I love. The cop flies past her going 100 miles an hour, according to Becky, and she decides to
follow him.
Yeah, just get in his
trail
way,
him.
get in his airstream there, NASCAR him,
Sometimes it works. If you've got a good story, we'd love to hear it. 651-989-ROCK on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talking text line. Candace, we have a few folks holding. Who we got up first?
Richard from Egan.
Richard, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Great, sir. What do you got for us?
Well, this is back in 2005. I was living in Thailand, and I was driving down the highway, and I got pulled over by the police.
Okay.
And they come up, and in I guess I was speeding, and the first thing he said was, you want to take care here, in the broken English, take care here, or take care in police station. And I knew better that you do not want to go to a police station in Thailand when you're a white boy.
Yeah.
So anyways, I opened my wallet. All that was in there was 100 baht, which is about $2-3 in American money.
Okay.
And he looks at it, and I said, well, this is all I got. And he says, that's okay. I'll take it. And off he went.
He's honest
need
about
to
it.
grab himself some lunch somewhere. What are you driving there in Thailand when you're hammering down? Just curious.
Oh, this is a 3/4 pickup Nissan.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. So,
Fair enough.
All right. Just fleecing you along the
but
side of the road.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Anybody going to Thailand, only carry small amount of money, just in case.
Doesn't take much.
The
Really
KQ trip to Thailand. You guys heard him.
We're going to book it. Richard, thank you for the call, brother.
Yeah, they do. Yes, all right. That happens.
Why
over
don't
there.
we take care of this in Brainerd? It's just the first thing that comes to mind right there. Tony, we've got some text messages, I believe.
Yeah, it says my friend's sister was stopped for rolling through a stop sign in North Carolina. The cop said, what kind of stop was that? And she said, a Minnesota slide. He laughed and let her go. That's from Dee Dee in Elk River. And like you mentioned earlier, a fella said, I got pulled over. Officer said, why are you going so fast? Told him no reason. I'm just a dumbass. He laughed and gave me a warning. So it works.
It helps. My father, Don Gorman, had the great knack of really warming himself to state troopers over the years. The greatest ever. just south of Cincinnati in northern Kentucky on I-71. My dad got popped and pulled over, and the state trooper came up to the window, and he said, "May I see your license and registration?" And he said, my dad handed it to him. He goes, "Now, Mr. Gorman, the reason I pulled you over is you were driving an excessive rate of speed. Now, the posted speed limit, it's important here in the state of Kentucky." And my dad looks at me and goes, hey, either give me the ticket or don't. I'm not going to sit here for a lecture from you.
Good Lord.
Literally, because the kid was like 25, young state trooper, and Don, former Marine Gorman, wasn't about to be lectured by a young man. And the cop looked at him and like, wow. And he said, "Would you step out of the car, please?" And he's right back sitting in the back seat of the squad car getting his ticket. My mom is looking at me like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this." Hey, you're either going to give me the ticket or not, but you're not going to give me a lecture. Sitting there in the back seat going, "Okay, remember this. Don't say that."
Yeah, right,
That's
exactly.
wonderful.
Try and smooth it over. Less is more sometimes. I love David here on the KQ Facebook page, a Georgia state trooper. I don't know why, but I just feel like Georgia state troopers have a national reputation for being badasses.
Well, Buford Pusser.
Yeah, right.
Or it goes back to Smokey and the Bandit. What was that? Sheriff Buford T. Justice.
Yeah, that's right. "Son, where were you going in such a hurry?" he asked. I replied to the officer, "It's Friday. I just got paid. I got money in my pocket and a fast truck and a hot date." He chuckled, said he never heard that one before, and told him to slow down.
Fair enough.
All right.
Candace, have we got someone else on hold?
Yes, Brad from Ham Lake.
Brad, good morning.
Good morning. What's going on, guys?
Oh, you tell us what's going on. What do you got for us?
So, I don't know. It's probably over 20 years ago. I'm a retired Army guy, and I was deployed at the time. So I hear that my old lady run off with a cop.
Oh, boy.
So I come back. Fast forward a few months later, we're getting divorced. I'm headed back to my duty station because we had to get divorced in the state that we were married in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hauling tail. Now, I don't know, 105, 110.
Right.
We set it on cruise control. I'm ready to get out and get going.
Right.
Cop pulls up behind me, pulls me over. I'm like, great. Now I'm going to get in trouble. So I get my stuff ready. He comes up to the door and he says, "License and registration, obviously." He said, "Why are you going so fast?" I said, "Look, I just got back from deployment a couple months ago. Old lady run off with a cop. So I'm headed back to my duty station. We had to get divorced up here." He says, "So why are you going so fast?" I said, "Well, I saw you back there. I thought you was bringing her back."
No.
Yeah, you.
Didn't see it coming.
no.
Set us up and just pulled the stool right out from under us. Good job, troop.
Pretty strong. Fair enough.
Not bad for an Army guy.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thank you for that. I think we have time for one more. Candace, who have we got?
Tom from Annandale.
Hey, Tom, what's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
All right, man. What do you got for us?
I turned, 19 or 20, and about 78, I bought a used 71 Z28, and a friend of mine just bought a brand new GTO, and we ran into each other on the highway one day and decided who was going to win. And, I turned off on Gleason Road after a mile or some of the behind me. And two cops got out, and you know what you're doing? Yeah, I was speeding. How fast were you going? Well, I know it only goes about 130. Then they got interested in my car.
Oh.
They wanted to see under the hood, wanted to know what the engine was, the transmission, the tires, and they never gave me a ticket.
What the?
Cool ride.
All right.
Works.
It really, I guess, is at their mercy. It depends what kind of mood they're in that day. The guy is probably likes turning a wrench on a muscle car. We know the officers, they like a little speed under the hood, too. I guess he just respected what you had going on.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, they got interested in the car and started asking me all sorts of questions. And, well, by the way, don't speed again. That was it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow, I didn't even get a ticket for doing like 130.
Yeah, you're lucky Dave there for sure. No doubt about that.
Fair enough. And you didn't have to make the Vikings roster to get out of that ticket. Good job on your end.
Yeah. No dog emergency.
That's fantastic. Hey, thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got out of a ticket thanks to radio one time.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years ago, I was hosting Steve Gorman Sports on Fox Sports Radio, and I was racing. I went to visit my mom, get lunch with my mom up in Kentucky, an hour north of Nashville where I lived. I'm driving back in the afternoon, and I get a blown tire blows out. I'm very delayed. By the time I get the donut on and I'm heading back to town, I'm late, and my producers yell, come on, man, you're going to miss the start of the show. It's getting close. And traffic's building up. The show starts at 5 p.m. and 4 o'clock, 4:15 north of town. Not a good time to be on the highway. Mm-hmm. I get pulled over, and this Tennessee state trooper walks up to the window. I hand him my license, and before I've said a word, he looks at it and he goes, "Steve Gorman, you a sports guy?" And I went, "Yes." He goes, "Drummer?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, I like that show. Shouldn't you be on the air soon?" I go, "Yeah, that's where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
If it got a flat, I'm really running late." He goes, "Well, drive speed limit the rest of the way, man. I'll be listening." And he just handed me my license back and let me go. And I was like, "That's it. That's my one pass."
You didn't get an escort?
I got no escort.
I got tagged one time, and as the officer was leaving, walking back to his squad, he said, "Love the show." I'm like, "Well, obviously not that much, man. Come on."
Yeah.
Where's the love?
Yep, same. Yeah. Well, that's not the only time I was recognized as a radio guy. The other time, I still got the ticket. "Love the show. Here's your ticket."
Yeah.
Like, thanks for nothing, dude. All right, hey, listen, if you're on hold, hang on. We're going to get to you. This one's really... Boy, everyone's just a nation full of BS artists.
Outlaws.
I love it.
Outlaws and BS artists, no doubt.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, July the 25th. Saturday, August the 18th, the Doobie Brothers at the Ledge Amphitheater. That's going down. And right now, because we care, we're going to give away a couple tickets. That's just the way we like to do it around here. Doobie Brothers, Saturday, August 18th. 2 callers on hold right now, ready to compete. Tony Lee, what is today's competition?
Okay, what we're going to do is test your knowledge, your random trivia skills, your ability to guess. So, we've strapped a monkey to a metal chair here in the studio. And we'll fire off questions. You get it right, you get admiration. Get it wrong, you send 2,000 volts of electricity into the hide of an unfortunate chimp. Let's play, shall we?
Wow. Shock the Monkey. A journey into the dark side of Tony Lee on the KQ Morning Show. It's always fun. It's always a little distressing. It's kind of how we like to roll around here. All right, let's do it. Candace, who's contestant number 1 today?
We have Kathy from Burnsville.
Kathy, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you a Doobie Brothers fan?
Yes, I am.
Good answer. Are you ready to play Shock the Monkey?
I'm scared, but I'll do it.
Even better answer. We love that. All right. Tony, take it away.
Well, the poor chimp is more scared than you are, doll. Well,
jeez.
All right, good luck to you. Number 1, there are only 3 animals with blue tongues. True or false?
True.
God, the relief I feel with the correct answer.
3. Yeah, that's it. I would
Do we have any idea what the animals are?
Of course we do. It's the black bear, the dog breed chow chow, and the blue-tongued lizard. Silly man.
Black bear has a blue tongue?
Yeah, apparently.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Right, yeah. Check one next time.
Well done, Kathy. 1 for 1.
Kath, number 2, the pupil of an octopus's eye is rectangular. True or false?
Oh, of an octopus? Do they have eyes? I'm going to say no.
Oh. No, double shock.
Poor chimp.
Oh, Tony, you got an itchy trigger finger over there.
It is rectangular. As Hudson used to call an octopus an octopus.
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 All right. All right. 1 for 2, Kath. Get back on the winning track here.
All right, Kath, the game Hacky Sack was invented in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Well, it would stand to reason given the name, but I'm going to say no.
Yes, it was invented in Turkey.
Thank goodness. Really? Turkey?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Fair enough.
Makes sense.
Yeah, sure it does.
I guess it does. Sure.
Number 4, in every episode of Seinfeld, you'll see an image of Superman somewhere.
That is true.
Without hesitation.
Right.
But you have to watch Seinfeld.
Wow.
Oh, you.
Wow. Curmudgeon.
Hater of humor. All right, this is a favorite show of yours. Okay, next up, Kath, on the show Happy Days, before the Fonz became the epitome of cool, the original cool guy created for the show was initially supposed to be Potsy.
I would probably say true, because it's so weird, but okay, true.
Wow.
Right. Yes.
Lean into the weird. That's today's lesson.
Isn't it? Anson Williams was supposed to be the cool cat.
Man, what were they thinking?
Okay, last one.
Back in the days when Richie had an older brother named Chuck.
Right. He
Remember
was
that
so
one
once.
episode?
God.
Season 1.
Yeah,
Later.
He dribbled and then he was gone.
That's it.
All right, Kath. Rapper LL Cool J took the initials for his name from his great-grandmother in the kitchen who would say, Lordy, Lordy, Cool Jam.
Oh my gosh, how would I know that? I'm probably going to say false.
Wow. Strong.
Yeah.
5 for 6,
Monkey
Kathy.
is breathing
Yeah.
free.
Now you don't have to read
You
it back.
have got a friend in this monkey today.
Good
Make no
job.
mistake about it.
Wow.
Well done.
Monkey lover.
That's right. Kathy is sitting pretty right now, going 5 for 6. All right, sit tight. We're going to see what the competition's got ready to go. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Tom from Elk River.
Tom, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's
Hi-
do this.
All right, I like that.
Wow.
I like that. Tom's
Someone's
ready for
late for a
some.
meeting.
Got to get me some Doobie Brother tickets, brother.
He's ready to take it to the streets. Let's do it.
All right, brother, number 1, the last line in the movie Gone with the Wind is, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
That is true.
That bastard. Wouldn't that have been an awesome ending for that movie? Plus, it was about halfway through. It would have been a good time to. My mom always, Gone with the Wind is on. Let's watch it. I'm like, it's going to be tomorrow before you know it.
What is the last line of that movie?
The last line is, after all, tomorrow is another day.
Oh, of course it is. Tom, I would have gone right down into the same ditch with you on that one.
I answered it with such confidence, too.
You
You really did.
No, like your gumption, like the cut of your jib, you're doing well. Number 2, singer Lady Gaga got her stage name from her first words as a baby, which were Goo Goo Gaga.
I'm going to say false because I don't know.
Because I don't know.
A lot less. What was it? What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Confidence in that answer. I don't know, man.
Radio Gaga, right? From the Queen song.
Yeah, loosely based on the Queen song Radio Gaga, which
Yeah.
her producer
There you
used
go.
as a nickname because she would often act a little cray-cray.
Very nice.
Yep. All right, Buster, in the show The Big Bang Theory, the restaurant that Penny works at as a server is the Embers.
I thought it was like a cheesecake ripoff. I'm going to say false.
Correct, it is the Cheesecake Factory.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Strong.
You old
All right.
enough to remember the Embers?
Nope.
You guys remember the Embers?
Oh yeah.
What is it?
It was like your Perkins or your Denny's or that kind of thing. It was
Yeah.
just the old cafe.
Oh, a
fast
place
food
from around here.
franchise.
I thought you were
Yeah.
going to say it was from Mod Squad or something. Like, what show was the Embers on? Got it.
Do you remember the jingle?
No.
Is that morning, noon, or nighttime? Any time's the right time. Remember the Embers.
Mostly after bar closed, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
For good lean beef, reasonably priced. Remember the Embers.
Oh my God.
I'm going to use that.
It's famous.
If I ever have a dating profile again, I'm using that. What was the line again? For good, lean.
Beef, reasonably priced.
Okay.
Remember? Yes.
Remember Zep.
They were all over the Twin
Right there.
Cities.
All right, refocus, Tom. We're halfway through.
Tommy Boy,
got
number 4, the ultrasound technology used in assisting with brain surgery, cardiology, and by meteorologists for weather mapping is called Doppler.
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Correct, sir. Number 5, the newest spokesperson and model for Victoria's Secret is Brock Lesnar.
No?
No.
No, it is not.
That's the greatest no I've ever heard.
That's really good. So much hope in that no.
All right, your last one, Tommy. The inventor of Pringles potato chips, Frederick Bauer's remains are actually buried in a Pringles can.
That is true.
Tommy, baby.
Oh, we have, boy, that lucky monkey.
I tell you what, that monkey only got 2 shocks. Well, 3 because you were a little itchy when Kathy missed her one. But you both went 5 for 6. Kathy and Tom, first things first, well played, both of you. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner leaving the octagon this morning. So it's time for a tiebreaker. Tony, what have you got? I guess there's going to be a question, and then Kathy, you'll answer it first, and then we'll see what Tom thinks. Does that sound like a plan? I think that's a plan.
Yes.
Let's do it.
That's a fine idea.
All right.
Okay, Smarty Pants readers, The Great Gatsby, written by Minnesota's own F. Scott Fitzgerald. Not Edmund Fitzgerald. Hello, our dear friend Terry Train. Love you, doll. The Great Gatsby was set in the summer, but in what year? Riddle me that. What year?
Kathy?
Oh, gosh. How about, let's see, 1964?
Tom, what do you got?
It's in the early 1920.
Wow, it was 1922.
22.
Very good. Damn, boy.
Tom, a little closer on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So that means Kathy 5 for 6, but fell short in the tiebreaker. Thank you for calling. You did a great job. Nothing to be sad about.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, only Tom is going to walk away with tickets today. Tom, Doobie Brothers, August 18th at the Ledge Amphitheater. Congrats.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if she was thinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's an old
Closer.
inside joke.
Yeah, it's an inside joke. But her answer was closer to the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald than the setting of the Great Gatsby, so it could have been.
Yeah.
I think we spared the monk too much. I got to give it one of these.
There you go. Just for old time's sake. Thanks, guys. That was great effort from both of you.
Smell like burnt monkey hair in here all day now.
Well, but really, is it that different from burnt human hair? I mean, we share 98% of the same DNA.
That's true.
So
That's true. I heard don't we share like with the pig though, like 94% DNA?
I'm not sure.
I'll have to Google that.
Correct.
That'll come in handy if you're ever in one of those alive situations up in the Andes and you're looking around going, who are we going to eat first?
Eat? Hell. Sorry. No, you know what? I'm actually sitting here on the KQRS Facebook post right now reading John's. Every time I get pulled over, we've been talking about, our Jordan Addison, our first-round draft pick, with a dog emergency going 140 miles an hour.
Dog emergency in quotes.
Yeah, right, exactly. Had a dog emergency. So we've been just talking about getting out of speeding tickets and what's worked, what hasn't worked, those stories from over the years. I've always been overly polite. I thought, let's just kill him with kindness and see if I can't, get a lucky break here. John hands the cop his license, insurance registration. Then the cop responds with, "How's your day?" John responds, "I'm not answering questions about my day." The cop keeps asking him questions. Every time the cop asks John a question, John responds with, "I'm not answering questions about my day." After he ran my information, he said, "All right, why are you saying that to every question?" I told him I was annoyed he pulled me over, but not the FedEx truck behind me going the same speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't want to talk to him. Cop said, "Okay." Didn't give him a ticket. What in the hell?
That's it.
That's it. I mean, he was just, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not answering any questions about my day. And then he doesn't give you a ticket?
All right, whatever works, man.
Yeah, whatever gets you through it. Hey, let us know. Whatever has gotten you out of a ticket. Maybe it didn't get you out of a ticket. Did you cry your way out of a ticket? Let's hear your story this morning on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line 651-989-ROCK. We have a KQRS Facebook post. John, thanks for posting yours. But I do hope you have a good day. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, July the 25th. That was Bruce Springsteen, Dancing in the Dark. The Boss recorded 70 to 80 songs, I believe, for the Born in the USA album. And his manager at the time, or still to this day, John Landau, at some point in the studio said, "I still don't hear a single. I don't hear the first catchy song." And Springsteen blew up and said, "I've given you 75 songs." And he was furious, and he stormed out of the studio, and he went home, and he wrote Dancing in the Dark. Wow. That's a true story.
He was
so pissed off.
His first album, Greetings from Asbury Park in New Jersey, he wrote the entire album, turned it in. They said, we don't hear a single. The story I remember reading, it was actually John Landau's book that he ended up writing, biography of Bruce Springsteen, an early book that he wrote, I think, in the 1980s. But anyway, in that he said, then Bruce Springsteen ran home and wrote Spirit in the Night and Blinded by the Light, which were not hits for him, but then the record label, Columbia, gave them to Manfred Mann's Earth Band, their hit-making machine at the time, and I believe they both went to number 1 for Manfred Mann.
It's nobody puts Baby in a corner, but it's good to put the boss in a corner on occasion. Just tell him you don't hear it. He'll be like, oh, really? It's funny because I remember hearing Dancing in the Dark the very first time, and the sound of that synth, I mean, it just sounded like a Charmin ad or something. I was like, oh, I hate that tone. It's so soft and gross and whatever. And then, of course, like within a week, I'm watching Courtney Cox dance, and I'm going, it's a pretty good song.
Yeah, I can do this dance. Any uncoordinated SOB can do that dance.
What the hell?
Look at me.
We're all dancers out there. Sometimes we're all dancing, and many of us apparently way more of us than I'm kind of comfortable realizing, love to dance around Johnny Law. Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings pulled over early Friday morning, as I'm sure you have heard, doing 140 miles per hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone on 94 in St. Paul. Again, 85 miles per hour over the speed limit. If you hit 25 miles per hour over the speed limit, then you are jumping into serious difficulties, threat of a license being pulled. I don't know what they do when you're 85 miles per over the posted speed limit, but I do know now that Jordan Addison told the trooper, I got an emergency at home with my dog.
I know. I've read 3 stories on it this morning and still nothing about the dog. I hope it's all right.
If the dog's emergency is anything other than it's holding fellow police officers hostage, I say good luck getting away with that one. Your dog better have a couple of men in blue cornered with his teeth out, because short of that story ain't going anywhere. But I love the effort. Got to give you credit, man. You were doing 140 in a brand new Lamborghini because you're 22 and you just got a $14 million deal. You don't have to go with the fake dog story, but boy, have a lot of our listeners come up with some doozies.
Yeah.
We've got a few people on hold right now, but I think we have a text first, Tony, from a listener.
We do. I always carry a bottle of water in the car. I got pulled over. I poured a little water on my crotch, said I have to go to the bathroom. He said, go ahead and hurry up and get home.
Oh, my
gosh. I have to go pee-pee, officer.
It's pretty good, actually.
That's brilliant. I'm using it.
Man,
Except I'm actually going to piss myself.
I mean, because I've heard people say, like, if you look at the officer in the eye and say, I have explosive diarrhea and I got to get to a toilet, they're going to feel bad for you. I've never heard of going all in with the bottle of water and saying, but see, if I saw someone do that, I'd say, you already peed yourself. What's the harm? It's done.
Right.
Emergency over.
I was on a plane once, and right when we pulled up to the gate, right when it went, doo, this guy came running up the aisle. And I stood up, and he comes from behind me, and I go, yo, and he goes, I've got to get off this plane. I'm late. And I'm figuring, his connection, he's panicked. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, okay, but chill. And he goes, I've already missed my connection. And that's what he said to me. And I go, well, then what the hell are you running for?
Yeah.
It just occurs to me, because if I'm a cop and I see somebody who's already peed themselves, I'm going to go, just sit back and get comfortable. Enjoy the warmth.
Right.
Call me crazy. On the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, we welcome your call, 651-989-ROCK. Candace, who is on the horn?
Jennifer from Apple Valley.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Hi, good morning.
What's going on?
I have a crazy story. So I've only ever been pulled over 4 times for speeding.
Only 4?
That's all.
Only 4.
How long have you been driving?
A month.
Long enough to where I should have been pulled over more.
Okay, good answer.
They've all ended in apologies because, I just removed my wedding ring and, I still got it. So,
wow.
Go, girl.
I love her.
Thank you. Make the patriarchy work for you. So one of the officer asked if I was late for work. I said, no, I was just jamming to Casey and the Sunshine Band. I got no tickets. That was great.
Nice.
And another time, my clearly pregnant friend and I were driving to Omaha, and we got pulled over for speeding. The officer asked why, and I said it was because we were really engaged in a discussion about, Arctic exploration. And then we asked if he had any good lunch recommendations, so worked out. He said, that's fair.
Wow, I guess if you're just adorable, you've got a shot.
I did it my best.
Yeah, wow.
I've heard tell that's kind of how the world operates sometimes, yeah. Wow, so wait, you've been pulled over 4 times, 0 for 4 on tickets?
The only time I've ever gotten a ticket was from a speed camera in Maryland. When I got the letter in the mail, they had a picture of my Fiat.
Yeah.
I said, well, I guess that's me.
Well, you know the slogan, the state slogan of Maryland. True story. Anytime you enter the state of Maryland, you know what it says on the sign? Welcome to Maryland. Please drive gently.
Gently.
That's true. Every highway I've ever entered that state on, please drive gently. And it's still 55 miles an hour still in that state. They are not playing games over there.
Drive gently.
Jennifer, congrats on maintaining heretofore unprecedented levels of adorableness this long into the game. Well played.
Oh, thank you. Right back at you guys.
You got it. Do we have another caller?
I got a story for you. This is back in the 70s now. Different time, different place.
I like it already.
Okay. We used to go dancing in places like Spring Hill, Straight Up, and Whiskey River. And we'd have a few drinks. You know, this is when we were in high school, and I had a 55 Chevy. And I had one of my buddies got a little bit too drunk, so I decided to take him home with me. But we'd always go to Paynesville, to the hilltop, to have something to eat before that, because it was open all night. And driving into Paynesville, get pulled over, going way too fast, get pulled over. One cop comes, another cop comes. Cop comes up to the side of the deal and says, what are you doing? And I said, I was just coming back from El Rosa, and they all knew about the places that we were at. So he goes, you been drinking? I says, well, no, not really. And the guy that I'm with, he says, well, can you get out of the car? Well, I don't know if you guys have ever been with somebody that just can't keep their mouth shut, or just don't get it. Just don't get me any more trouble than I'm already going to get in.
Yeah, we all know that drill. Sure.
Yeah.
So
me,
the guy that I'm with opens the door, falls out the door, rolls down the ditch.
That's
and
great.
that's when you hit the gas and took off.
He rolled down the ditch. The other cop goes over, picks him up, takes him up the hill, and starts talking to me. And he looks at my driver's license. I'm 18. The kid that's with us doesn't have a driver's license. He's underage. So now this is escalating from speeding ticket to, getting a underage person drunk.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm trying to talk to him, and I'm being real cool about everything, just being calm. He says, "Well, we can't. We were still in high school, so we can't let this kid go home." So they take us down to the police department. I'm in the police department. They call his mom and dad. They're talking to his mom and dad on the phone about coming and get him. He's from Bruton. We're from Bruton. He's from Bruton, so they got to come get him. The cop's talking to me, and I'm still trying to be really calm. And as we're walking into the police department, he's really drunk, so he's acting just stupid as hell. And I finally grab a hold of him, and I get into his ear, and I just say, "Hey, you just got to stop talking and just leave it alone so that I don't get myself in any more trouble than I'm going to get in already." So the cop must have heard me say that. So we're walking into the deal, and he talks to his parents. His parents are going to come get him. And I'm talking to the police officer for about another 5 minutes or so, and I'm trying to be as cool as I can. And the officer says, "Well, since his parents are coming, and you've been so good and everything, you're all cool, and you're not acting stupid and everything like that, I'll give you a ride back to your car, and you can go home." So he gave me a ride back to my 55 Chevy, and I went back home.
Be the cool one. Don't be the drunk one. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Therein lies the moral. Be the cool one.
Yeah, one of those times. You're glad that iPhones didn't exist then, but boy, I wish I had video of that guy falling out the side of the car and rolling in the ditch.
Tuck and roll.
Love to see that.
Are any of you guys from local here that know Whiskey River and Jesse Brady and those bands?
Yeah, sure. I remember them.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Tony never fell into a ditch going to see him, but he streaked to a couple of those gigs back in the day. You can be sure of that. Terry, thank you for the call, brother.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
I'm reminded of a sheriff out in South Dakota, Beetle County. He's not with us anymore. I think I can say Sheriff Mendel. He was one of these big round mounds of sound, that would wedge himself between the wheel and the squad car, and he'd never get out, but you always carried an extra case of beer in the trunk in case Tommy pulled you over going somewhere. and by the way, he almost got me shot by a police officer as well, a state trooper, because when Tommy pulled you over in Beetle County, South Dakota, you didn't let Tommy did not come to your window. You walked back to Tommy.
Oh, really?
He wasn't getting out of the vehicle. I don't think he could get out of that vehicle. He was wedged in there.
That's pretty wedged in.
Where you boys going tonight? I just like he's a Southern. He's a South Dakotan. He goes, where are you boys going tonight? Well, we're going here. And he goes, you got any beer in that car? Well, we got a little bit. And he'd hand you his keys. He'd shut off his squad car, hand you his keys. You'd go to your trunk, open it up, take out the case of beer, put it in his trunk, shut his trunk, give him the keys back. And then if I see you on the way home on the hardtop today, take the gravel on the home tonight. I know you're going to be drinking. If I see you on the hardtop, I'm going to pull you over.
Wow.
I get pulled over in Minnesota by a highway patrol as a young man, maybe a year or two later. And the state trooper pulls me over, and I jump out of my car and start hustling back to the state trooper's car. No. He hopped out and pulled the 357.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. He's like, get in your car. Get on your hands on your car. And I was like, I thought that's the way how we do it. And I was going to get you a case of beer.
It's funny. That same thing happened. My brother Dave did the exact same thing. Got pulled over. And he didn't have a reason to do that. He was actually so freaked out and he felt wronged. Or I'm trying to remember, but he jumped out and looked back at the cop with his "What are you pulling me over for?" And same exact thing. Cop opens the door, gets behind it, pulls the gun. I mean, it's crazy. I'm looking at him going, what are you doing? I don't even have a driver's license yet, and I know you don't jump out of the car and you get pulled over.
Yeah,
that was wild. That whole story about the guy falling out of the ditch, I mean, we just heard a Springsteen. That sounds like a Springsteen song. Hey, Jimmy fell out of the car and I raced off and state trooper came a-running. He's got all those down home, just driving into a small town looking for a way out.
Hey, rolling ditch man.
That's it.
Hey, rolling ditch man.
Golly. Looking for my ditch weed in the ditch. Everybody had ditch weed back in the day. Man, lots of people getting out of lots of issues. Hey, by the way, remember we said, or I referenced, of course, the very famous Steve Buscemi line, I thought we could take care of that officer right here in Brainerd.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take care of some business up near Brainerd a little later this year. The KQ Morning Show is hitting the road for a long weekend. KQ Up North with our friends at BigDeck.com. This is October 5th through the 8th at Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. Get your own cabin, or if you have one already or a place to stay nearby, you can join us for a live broadcast of the KQ Morning Show. Drinks on the boat cruise, dinner, and more. Just book a day pass if you don't want to stay at the resort with us at 92KQRS.com. Stay with us at Gull Lake or just get yourself a day pass. This whole thing is sponsored by BigDeck.com and Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. How we're going to do it here from the show is we're going to get off the air that morning, and the four of us are literally going to race to Cragun's and see who can get pulled over and who can talk themselves out of the ticket. Because since 1996, I've always imagined saying, why don't we take care of this right here in Brainerd? Yes. And I'm looking for that opportunity for the first time ever.
Well, I know I'm going to have Casey and the Sunshine Band. I'm going to play.
Always.
I'm going to be cranking that.
That's a staple. Remove the wedding ring.
I'll take the wedding ring off. Right.
Get the wedding ring off.
And a bottle of water.
Rock some cake. Have a pregnant woman sitting next to you.
I'm pretty sure I just can't pull off what Jennifer can, though. I just don't, I don't have the full package. Are we going to do one more call here? Should we get along? We have a special guest at 8:30.
If they can make it quick, we'll let do you think we can get a quick call in, Candace?
Yeah, Joe from Eden Prairie.
Joe, what's up, man?
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I can make this quick. Common theme is going to be comedy, getting out of the tickets.
I like this.
My most tellable story, there are many. I was on a trade show about 15 years ago down in Miami, and in a rental car. And after a fresh rain, went through a stoplight. May have been orange and hydroplanes. The good news is everyone was fine. Scared the heck out of everyone. There was no one in the intersection except a police officer.
Of course.
And the car came up behind me quickly. I happily pulled over. Officer walks up. I didn't hop out. Knew what to do. And put the window down. I looked up. I said, "Yes, officer." And I realized it was G.I. Jane. And I said, "Yes, officer." And quickly corrected myself and said, "Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am." Shit. And she laughed so hard at the situation that she realized everyone was fine. No one was in the intersection. Simply, I was from out of town, rental car, and she had a good laugh, and she said, "Welcome to Miami. Drive safely." But that was the lesson of that I can share is just get them laughing, give them a laughable situation.
Yeah, nice save right there. We appreciate it, and nice job making it, hitting it and quitting it. Thank you for the call, brother. We got to bounce.
All right, well, let's keep that comedy theme going. You know, you want to make an officer laugh, perhaps a comedy fantasy camp is the way to go. Adam Carolla going to join us at 8:30. Yeah, he's talking about the first ever comedy fantasy camp. He's hosting it with Jay Leno. We're going to talk to him about that at 8:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, July the 25th. In a few minutes, Adam Carolla is going to be joining us. Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
Guy's been in our lives for a long time now. I was just thinking about it. Like, I think I first hit him. He was a successful guy on the radio in L.A. for years. I remember seeing The Man Show with Jimmy Kimmel. That's probably when he first hit my radar.
Right.
But he was well-known throughout Southern California and then syndicated before that point. But he's working with Jay Leno and a new thing this fall, the first ever comedy fantasy camp, which you've heard about these rock and roll fantasy camps that have been going on for years. The same guy that started that, David Fishall, he's a sports agent. He's starting now a comedy camp. So if you're trying to figure out whether you could have or still could be a comedian, much like the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, you can sign up and hang out with Adam Carolla and Jay Leno and some other pretty big names in comedy. We'll be getting some details from him momentarily. But in the meantime, a local story, if you will, I wanted to get your thoughts on. Let's see. Mille Lacs walleye size limit expanding August 1st.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. I mean, Mille Lacs, and I forget, it's probably like 10 years ago, but they had some summers up there. And, of course, Mille Lacs is a huge walleye fishing lake, as most are, but so many resorts up there.
Right.
It being the size of the lake and proximity to the cities, it's a big deal to get up there and walleye fish.
Okay.
And for many years, the walleye population dropped so low for a variety of reasons we won't get into. I think Adam's on the phone. But it means that the walleye population is coming back. It's getting stronger.
Good news.
And you can take smaller walleye up there and have yourself a fish feast.
Isn't that nice? Okay, Adam Carolla is on the horn right now. I mentioned the Comedy Fantasy Camp coming this fall, but first things first, Adam, have you ever caught a walleye?
No, I'm from North Hollywood, California.
Well, you know, I thought maybe you'd had a drunken weekend in Wisconsin along the way somewhere, or maybe here in Minnesota, and found yourself with a rod and reel in your hand.
I tried fishing in Minnesota, but there are no lakes.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. It's tough. You got to go pretty far to find a place. Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, we've had those for a long time. This is the first comedy fantasy camp that you are going to be a part of. Okay, is this a stupid thing I'm about to say, or is there some sense to this? You can't learn to be funny, but if you're already kind of funny, you can become a lot funnier. Does that sound logical at all?
That's totally logical. I know a lot of those people, and I'll modify it just a little bit, which is I know people that, and by the way, every comedian I know who's been in this town for 25 years, if you gave them 3 beers, they would tell you all the people they've worked with that are talentless who make 10 times as much money as they do.
It only takes 3 beers? Wow.
16 ounces.
Yeah, okay.
Double IPAs.
Got it.
But what I'm saying is like, you don't really even have to be blessed or gifted. You just need to have the right attitude and approach, and you can get into a writer's room. Now, you're not going to be Chris Rock or Jerry Seinfeld, but I mean, you can treat comedy like it's any other job, and you can work in it. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean on stage with a mic in your hand. It could mean in a writer's room on a late night show or working on a sitcom.
Well, sure, and your career, you've done. I do think of you as a very funny man, but you've shown that talent in a variety of realms. So this comedy camp, it's not just about stand up. Then you're letting people see all the different ways they can apply what gifts or talents they have.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of really seasoned, successful people who have run sitcoms, developed sitcoms, write for late-night night shows and the whole potpourri of comedy. Because when you say comedy, it's like saying I'm good at sports, but we don't know what your sport is. Is it basketball? Is it baseball? Is it swimming? Like, they're very different things, right? So I always just look at comedies like saying sports, and now we need to find your sport within the heading of sports.
ComedyFantasyCamp.com is the website if anybody wants to check it out. Jay Leno, Adam Carolla, and many more. And Adam is with us on the horn right now. A lot of musicians, and I know plenty, will tell you, very successful musicians, but there's a guy in my hometown who's the greatest I've ever heard, but he never goes anywhere. I would imagine you could also think off the top of your head of a ton of guys that you find hilarious who just never got anything going.
When people say to me all the time, who's the funniest guy you know? I go, you don't know his name. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't recognize him, because that's how kind of comedy works. Like, basically, who's the funniest guy you know who's never gotten anywhere with his career? Now, if you ask that same question to Kimmel, he'll say Adam Carolla. But
of course,
if you ask me, I think of 5 guys I know that were funny as hell, could just never got the rubber to the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there's a business side of it, and there's a positioning side of it. There's a professional side to it that a lot of people don't have. They think it's just about being super funny and then hanging out and getting drunk. It isn't. It's about, like, a guy like Jimmy Kimmel. Funny. Is he the funniest guy I've ever met? No. Is he the most focused and dedicated and consistent? Yes. And that's why we know who he is.
Who, Adam, when you first decided or first got the notion, like, hey, I can make a go at this. I can be in entertainment. I can be in the world of comedy. Did somebody ever show you the ropes? Was there any one person that you look back and say, yeah, that guy kind of took me under his wing, whether they even knew they were doing it or not, I guess?
Well, it was Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, it was? Okay.
He was working at K-Rock Radio when I knocked on the door, and he took me under his wing, and he basically mentored me at the beginning, for sure. So that guy was Jimmy.
Wow.
Hey, Adam, this ComedyFantasyCamp.com, by the way, for the details and the registration, coming up quickly, October 12th through Sunday the 15th. So it's a 4-day camp. So I'm just curious, what's a day at Fantasy Comedy Camp look like for someone?
A little canoeing with Jay Leno.
Yeah, I love Leno's a part of this, too. That's awesome.
It'll depend on what you want to specialize in. Like, are you there to work on your stand-up, or are you there to get into a sitcom writer's room or late-night shows writer's room, or are you there for all of the above? So it'll kind of depend on what your emphasis is. But if you're stand-up, it'll end up with a show at the Improv.
Wow.
And you'll get to talk to all these people that are in the business and super successful.
Yeah. Wow. Now, listen, we were talking about everyone that we know that's funny, and we're talking about that guy in the neighborhood, that friend of ours that's just a funny blast. But we also know people that are just obnoxious, but they think they're funny. You know, you're going to get some of those guys and gals out there. Is there a plan there if somebody just shows up and they just want to, I don't know, bull rush you with comedy, and they're gonna put on the comedy camp themselves? I can see this happening with a comedy camp.
Well, listen, if you bought your ticket and you're there, you can bum rush and or bull rush all you want. I'll take whatever you got.
Beautiful.
Fair enough. There's the flag waving in the distance right there for somebody. Adam, while we still got you, first concert you ever saw, what was it?
I think I saw the Cars when I was in high school.
You think?
I think I did see the Cars in high school.
All right.
I think that's the first concert I ever
Gotcha.
went to outside of like free junk in the park.
Yeah. I meant like something that was cool. You got to school the next day. We're telling people about it. It's always good to look back on that first one.
Yeah, I'd say I think the Cars, probably 1980.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's solid.
They were in a bit of a tear right then. Adam, comedyfantasycamp.com. That's happening this fall, October in L.A. Adam, thank you for taking the time, man.
Thanks for having me.
See ya. Fair enough.
Yeah.
By the way, that was a great answer when he said, no, if you pay for the ticket, you come in, whatever. And I'm sure that's true, but man, you're gonna get zinged along the way if you go to comedy camp and then try to tell them what's up.
Most often, I would think. It's got to be intimidating as hell. You've got Adam Carolla, Jay Leno, and sessions with some of the top comedians. You're in L.A. for crying out loud. There with the Hollywood Improv and the Roosevelt Hotel on Hollywood Boulevard and all that good jazz. I would think, like a rock and roll fantasy camp, it would be intimidating as hell to get up in front of those people.
I think it's worse for comedy, especially stand-up comedy, because, again, you're just alone. You're holding the microphone. And in rock and roll fantasy camp, first things first, you can always blame the drummer. And short of that, you can always blame the bass player. You know what I mean? There's always someone else up there you can holler at. Comedy, if it's stand-up comedy, you're on your own. But I do like the idea, as he said, there's a million different ways to apply comic skills or talents, like writer's room. The number of people that go to L.A. every year and think, I'm going to try to make it, and then you get out there and you're like, how do you even know? You don't know how to begin to even try to figure out how to begin. You know what I mean? Like you literally, it's like standing in front of a 1,000-foot wall going, I got to climb that. I don't even see where to put my foot in to get that first step. So this is a pretty cool idea.
I like that you have the opportunity to make s'mores with Jay Leno. Hop in a canoe.
Yeah, go canoeing, do some, there's summer camp stuff. Tony, you've done improv classes, I know. I would think you'd dig something like this.
I would love to do something like that. I was with an improv group for years. But you mentioned like the competition going out to L.A. When I was out there, every coffee shop you go to, every table is filled with guys in baseball hats sitting there writing scripts. On their laptop, or they have notebooks open. Everyone's chasing the same thing.
Yeah, that Final Draft software. You recognize it from across a Starbucks every time. Someone's just tapping away.
What about an Airbnb? Would you rent your house out as an Airbnb, Tony?
Would I?
Yeah, if you were out of town for a couple of weeks, would you rent it out to complete strangers?
It's too messy. They wouldn't go.
Maybe they could clean up a little bit. Hit them with a big cleaning fee.
I'm sure there's a program. There's some software you could download that would make your house look clean. You could just fake the photos.
I guess there's some big money to be made there, but you got to make sure that you're renting out your place and not someone else's place. What do you hear this story we have for you at 9 o'clock? Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Tuesday, July the 25th. Good morning. Quite a day we've had so far. Lots of tales from listeners talking themselves out of speeding tickets. Jordan Addison tried that on last Friday morning, 3 a.m. The story we heard and talked about on Friday was he got popped doing 140 miles per hour in St. Paul on I-94. He told the officer at the scene, there's a dog emergency. I got to get back for it. Got a dog emergency at home. We're not buying it, but we're applauding the effort.
Yeah, not super creative, but played the dog card, I guess.
Pull the heartstrings. No word on whether the officer believed him. Well, actually, we can say he didn't because he did. He was ticketed. There will be some. There'll be some sort of a fine, license revoked, something. You don't go 140 without paying the piper at the end of the road. But all that to say, he's in camp. He's going to be playing. He's most importantly to me right now is he's healthy.
I am
so
predicting
get on the field, kid.
Yeah, I'm predicting a don't speed public service announcement coming soon from one Jordan Addison.
I think that's a very, very safe bet. We have all, at various times in our life, and some of us to this day, we rent our housing, apartment or a home. We rent for whatever reason, and we've all been there. Some of us, myself right now, I'm there right now. We all have places we live. Some are long-term, some are short-term. At the end of the day, what I'm getting at is we all have to deal with landlords.
Yeah.
And check this story out. This is going to blow your mind. Reddit, the website Reddit, message boards, you go get questions. There's all of these subreddits, different places you can go online. There's one that's legal advice subreddit. People submit questions from their life, and actual lawyers will weigh in, and they'll tell you what your options are. Listen to this story. Somebody went on legal advice subreddit and said, I rent a home in California. I got a 1-year lease. I recently stayed in Vancouver for a couple months with my family. I went up to see family in Vancouver. I just left my apartment, left the place, locked the door, boom, gone to Vancouver for a couple months, still paying rent. It's a 1-year lease. When he got back, it's a house he's renting, not an apartment. When he got back to his house, he was missing some items, his PlayStation, his PC, even a gun safe. Not just a gun, but the entire gun safe where his firearm was locked.
Man.
No sign of forced entry. Filed a police report for the theft. Asked some neighbors if they saw anything. 2 of my neighbors said, well, I didn't even realize you were gone. I always saw cars parked in front, and I saw people coming and going the whole time. The landlord, when the tenant said, hey, I'm going to Vancouver for a couple months, I locked up the house. The landlord put the house up on Airbnb.
That's good God.
Put a rental unit with a tenant who had a lease and was paying the lease. The landlord put his house up on Airbnb and rented it out the whole time.
Oh, man.
People were coming and going. A revolving door of Airbnb clients in a rental home that a guy had all of his stuff in. He had no clue this was happening. And he got on subreddit and said, hey, wait, do I have a legal case here? This guy never told me he was doing this. I'm covered the rent. He was double dipping.
Yeah.
And the long story short is, yeah, you got a case. Every lawyer that weighed in said, get a lawyer in town and sue the hell out of this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Take it to him. And of course he was robbed. These people,
yeah.
And this happens at Airbnbs, but they're insured for as much. I'm sure he has some homeowners insurance that may cover this. I hope so. But imagine if they didn't steal anything and you get home and your place has been rented out as an Airbnb, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
You're like, I thought the dishwasher was empty. Was that over there? But even grosser, you just climb right into the sheets. You think the landlord spiffied up and washed all of his sheets for him? No, I don't think so.
That would honestly be weirder if you just had an uneasy feeling. And it would probably, if you leave a house for 2 months and then come home, you're going to ignore some of those little, they're not red flags, they're yellow flags.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's weird. Oh, whatever. And then eventually a day, 2 days, a week, at some point, there's going to be enough of them where you go, wait a minute, what is going on here?
Leave that there.
That's like a horror film waiting to happen. Maybe not a horror film, but it's a Lifetime movie at the very least.
Yeah, a nice matinee on Lifetime.
I'd be looking around for, did someone plant cameras in here? Am I being watched at all times?
Oh, that'd
be just really creepy.
Yeah, I think I didn't have this experience, but I do remember I had a lease and I was leaving the lease a couple of months early. I hadn't planned on it and I was going to honor the lease, but they said, you know what, go ahead. If you're going to be out of here at this date, we're going to go ahead and rent it out. Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, about a week after I left, they said, you know what, we weren't able to rent it. You're responsible for that. Okay, all right. I signed the lease. What are you going to do?
Right.
So I'm forking out the dough. Next time I'm back in town, I drive past the place. By gum, there is someone living there. I went up and did the old knock on the, I was here before, but when did you guys move in? Oh, sounds good. So they were double dipping, but thankfully it didn't have to go the legal route. They just fessed up and refunded they did the old, I'm sorry. I didn't. Well, yeah. We have a couple properties. Losers. But this is, because you're living there still, this sucks.
I don't have any landlord nightmare stories except for the time that I was a landlord because for a while we owned the house next door to us and we rented it out. And it sounded like a great idea because you're going to buy a house. It's a fixer-upper, but before you do that, we'll rent it. And it's like, hey, that's smart. It makes sense. But then you're living next door to your tenants. And then in the case, these were 4 young guys who had all recently graduated from college. And we figured, but they all have jobs now. They're probably going to, I talked to myself into thinking it was a good idea.
Yeah.
4 guys, 24, 25 years old, living in a house right next door, a house that I own. So I'm like a hawk watching out the window. Every time I'd walk outside, I'd look over. I'm like waiting to see smoke billowing out of the windows upstairs. They were fine. They didn't trash the house too badly, but they were just really loud. And it's a very quiet neighborhood. Very quiet neighborhood, except for this one house. And it's my house, and it's my tenants. And I had to repeatedly go, guys, listen, do you hear any other noise? Why are you sitting outside in the backyard around a fire pit with a boombox at 10:30 at night on a Monday? No one else in the neighborhood makes noise like that. And they'd be like, okay, sorry, man. You know, it just went on and on. And so, Grant, in the grand scheme of things, nothing terrible. But I was so stressed. I barely slept for the year they lived in the house because the whole time I was like, I can't believe I rented this house to 4 knuckleheads just out of college. What was I thinking?
4 bachelors just out of college.
Yeah.
It's almost as if you expect, say, perhaps a 23-year-old millionaire to buy a Lamborghini and not go 140 miles an hour.
It was a little silly.
Happen, yeah.
The only laugh I got out of the whole situation was there was one night when I was on the road with the Black Crows, and we had a few days off in the bus. We were driving like through Nashville, in between wherever we were going to and wherever we were coming from. And so I'd said to the driver, hey, when you get to Nashville, drop me off at my house. I got to take a few days at home. Well, my neighborhood was full of there were big trees on the street with branches that hung kind of low. And so I told my driver, I said, you're going to have to drop me off like 2 blocks shy. You know, it's fine. I'm not going to ask you to drive down that road, scratch up the bus. He says, cool. It's 2 a.m. I get off the bus, and I have a suitcase and my shoulder bag, and I'm wheeling it down my very quiet residential street at 2 a.m. on the sidewalk. And as I'm approaching I have my house and the house next door, I'm coming up on the rental unit first, and I hear noise, and I see a little bit of activity, and I realize that the dudes from the house, they're all hanging in the front yard for whatever reason on this night. They're sitting in chairs. They've got them all pulled out in the front yard, and they've got music on. It's not very loud, but they're talking pretty loudly. I hear them as I'm approaching, and I'm like, what are these guys doing? It's 2 a.m. And as I walk up, they all look up and see me, and I'm their landlord, but I'm also the dude in that band or whatever. And I have a suitcase and like a shoulder bag, like I have luggage. And the one kid looks up and goes, "Hey, dude, were you at Panic too?" Widespread Panic had played the Ryman that night, and they'd all gone because they're all jam band fans.
Sure.
And the kid's question was, were you at Panic too?
Yeah, you bought so much merch.
And I'm like, yep, I did. I bought 100 T-shirts. I needed to buy a suitcase to get it all home. I went, was I at Panic? No.
Yeah.
And then they're all, oh, sorry. And then they all look down like, they're all looking at that one kid like, dumbass, don't say that to him.
Embarrassing.
It's just like, God, what in the world? So I clearly could have been worse, but the whole time was just so stressful.
Yeah.
I'm not landlord material, man. I just couldn't, especially not when they're living next door.
Yeah, no, it's you can't win on that deal. And then if you're not next door, then you're worried about what's going on over there. Are they destroying the place? It's like buying a used vehicle. Sweet old lady, you just want sweet old lady to move in next door and
that's exactly
sell
right.
you her car that she put 250 miles on over 20 years.
If there's going to be one real douchebag on the block, I want it to be me.
Yeah.
I'd like to be the guy saying sorry rather than the guy angry at someone else the whole time.
That's generally been my experience.
Just a little easier that way.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know if anybody here shops at Whole Foods very often, but it's about to get way easier and creepier to shop at Whole Foods. Did you see this story? Whole Foods a few years ago started testing palm recognition.
Yeah.
Palm recognition payment options. There's a couple stores in New York City, Amazon Go stores, and then one Whole Foods, an entire grocery store, where you can scan your palm and then it recognizes your palm print and it connects that to your account if you have a Whole Foods account. And now every Whole Foods in America next year, they're going to start rolling out palm scanners.
Yeah.
You will be able to walk into a Whole Foods. You don't have to have a wallet. You don't have to have a credit card. You don't have to have anything. All you got to do is load up that cart and put your palm down. It'll read your palm. It will know who you were, and it'll charge your card.
What if you just lean on the counter a little too long? You're going to ring up hundreds of dollars unintentionally.
Bought the lady behind you groceries.
I got to think someone's going to do that. Sure. There's going to be all kinds of things. And again, I'm like, well, okay, what's the big deal? Like, I have that clear. I go to the airport. I put my eyes up. They read my eyes. I mean, they know who I am. Somebody's paying attention to all of us. It's not like I can't be found. I'm on my phone all the time. I've got a digital footprint 600 miles long. We all do.
Yeah.
But this one just, so it's like, it's not my fingerprints, it's just my palm print, but I imagine that's just as unique as a fingerprint or close to it. It just weirds me out. Probably because you don't even have to carry a wallet anymore. Like, we're just going to allow people to just come with some responsibility here. Like, if you forget your wallet, you have to, by the rules, turn around and drive back home, damn it.
Yeah.
It's like we're just letting people live a life where there's no accountability.
Well, then it's going to, once Whole Foods will do it, then others will follow. Pretty soon, all the retail joints will be just doing the palm readers, and then we'll have it on our phone, and we'll be able to just read someone's palm to have them transfer money, and then that's when you're going to screw up. Someone's going to be walking around and just scanning your palm while you're sitting there with your hands behind your back or something like that. But
I would rather it be like, when you're watching NBA warm-ups and they announce the starting lineup, and there's always one guy in the team that is like the handshake professor for every player. They all have a different, unique handshake. Yes. I think they should at least do that. Like, when you don't need my palm print, but everybody has a special hand, like 2 down low, 1 potato, 2 potato, fake punch to the jaw, rank, rank, some Three Stooges.
Give me one of these.
Just something like that. That would totally be cool with me. Just a palm print, kind of boring. Sorry, Candace. What?
At least they should tell you my future, how many kids I'm gonna have.
Get a reading out of it.
Thank you.
You owe us $98. And by the way,
you're gonna read my palm, and all I get is some broccoli and grape juice out of this. Hell, tell me something I can use, people.
Yeah, right. Well, what if you get robbed now? They're gonna have to cut off your hand.
Well,
gonna have to.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad enough that you can be sound asleep and someone can take your phone and open it up with your face thing. For the most part, get into your phone just because of facial recognition. Now,
right?
You know how they used to if you're caught as a thief in certain cultures, they chop your hand off.
Right.
Now the thief will chop your hand off so he can go scam groceries with your palm print.
I think I just saw it in one of those Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies. They cut the guy's hand off so that they could get into the vault.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
This is where we're all headed. We're all going to have to be we're living in a Mission Impossible alternate reality.
It's here now.
Well, as long as I get to ride the motorcycle off the thing, that'd be kind of cool.
I want to do my own stunts, totally.
Sure.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Tuesday, July the 25th. I have still, regrettably, not seen either Barbie or Oppenheimer. It's going to happen. It'll happen this week. I will be the first to let you know my thoughts. I'm looking forward to both. I'm not going to do the thing a lot of people did, which is see them both in the same day. I just don't have two movies in me in one day.
Yeah, one of them's 3 hours. I don't know how long Barbie is.
I think it's just a little under 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, 5 hours of movies in a theater. I don't have that. That's just not. I'm just not there. There was a time when that would have made sense.
Yeah.
But from what I hear about Oppenheimer, it's going to take a while to just let it. I got to process it. I got to think about it. I think I'll do Barbie first. Probably a little easier on the palate going in. A lot to process, but a little cleaner, a crisper finish, if you will. Oppenheimer, you're digging deep. That's going to be harder. But check this out. Speaking of digging deep, Oppenheimer is being shown on IMAX projectors across America. Not in a ton of them. In fact, there's only 19 theaters in the United States that are able to show Oppenheimer in IMAX on 70-millimeter film. That's the specific type of film this movie was shot in. 70-millimeter film. Not too many people still do it. Christopher Nolan's one of the few. Check this out. Long story short, the film on the reel, if you unrolled the entire film, is 11 miles long.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not making this up. It weighs 600 pounds. If you go see Oppenheimer in IMAX, somebody is loading 600 pounds of film on a several reels onto that projecting system machine. This ain't the old school projector like in Cinema Paradiso or something, or like when we grew up with. This is a machine that can hold 600 pounds of film, for crying out loud.
Well, yeah, if you've ever been up into one of those projector rooms or anything, looked at any of those big projectors they have up there, they're, about the size of a Buick.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Again, there are only 19 theaters in the U.S. that can show Oppenheimer in 70-millimeter IMAX. 2 of them are in the Twin Cities. metro area.
Yeah.
AMC Southdale in Edina and the Imagine Willow Creek in Plymouth.
Yeah, we're
2
kinda-
of the 19 right here.
Yeah, we're sort of spoiled there on the west side, especially. So I wasn't sure. I thought, well, that sounds really cool, but is there really a difference between 70 millimeter IMAX and digital? Enough so that I'm going to, truck it on over to one of those movie theaters, or will I just see it anywhere? But it says that 70 millimeter film and digital, higher quality in 70 millimeter, and that wider aspect ratio. So you get more of what the director intended to be on the screen. Well, you get all of it in 70 millimeter, and when it goes digital, I guess you don't get quite as much.
I think Christopher Nolan has earned the benefit of the doubt that it's probably worth seeing that if you can, just because his movies are phenomenal to look at. Just visually striking, no matter what they are, they've all been. So, yeah, I'm probably going to take it in one of those 2 places now. That's a plan for me.
Why don't they have Oppenheimer in 3D?
I don't think I can handle it.
Now, people are dressing up and making it an event for Barbie. How would you do that for Oppenheimer?
Well, as I said yesterday, the Devo radiation suit comes to mind.
Yeah.
The yellow Fallout suit.
Cigarettes.
It's a lot of cigarettes.
A lot of ciggies, and an old wool suit in the summer here in Minnesota. Just be like going to you ever see those old Minnesota State Fair photos from 100 years ago?
Yeah.
They're all walking around in wool suits and dresses that are about 8 layers deep.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the photo, standing at the Minnesota State Fair in shorts, just pitting out, thinking, man, how good would a wool suit feel? 98 degrees and low humidity.
Every time you see a photo of Ebbets Field, Brooklyn Dodgers, daytime game, and you see men in suits and hats, all I think is that ballpark stunk.
Yeah. Oh,
God,
man.
it must have been awful. Absolutely insane. Oh, my gosh. I'm glad I thought of this. I just saw this yesterday. A completely meaningless statistic, but it's also kind of mind-blowing. Speaking of baseball, check this out. Major League Baseball has been around for 147 years. Okay? There have been, take a guess. How many people do you think have ever suited up? You only have to play 1 game in the majors to be on this list. How many players in 147 years? Anybody even got a ballpark where you would put it at?
I'm gonna say 20,000. My way off?
Okay. No, you're actually really pretty close to that. The number is 23,000.
Okay.
Check this out. To put that in perspective, in all of those years, 147 years, Progressive Field, where the Cleveland Guardians play, is the smallest stadium in baseball with 37,000 seats. If you put everyone who's ever played in the major leagues in that stadium, it's only 61% full.
Wow.
You can't fill a stadium with the number of people that have played baseball in 147 years. Professional league, Major League Baseball. And it makes sense, but just at a thought of it, it's like that's a much smaller club than I would have imagined.
Yeah, I heard only less than 5% make it out of the minors then into the major leagues. So
I don't know. That just blew my mind.
Yeah, that's a small club. I mean, it doesn't sound like a 23,000, but when you put it, extrapolate it out over 140 years, you're a big league ball player.
From day one, you've had to be pretty good. Put that major league uniform on. The other part of Barbenheimer is, of course, Barbie. The movie speaks for itself, clearly. It made $155 million on a 3-day weekend. That's a pretty good start to what will probably be $1 billion worldwide before it's all said and done. I think that's a safe bet. Greta Gerwig, the writer-director, has sold more tickets than any female director in Hollywood history now. Wow. I just read that. But here's a couple things about Barbie. Not the movie, but Barbie herself. I never knew any of this. Candace, are you aware of the fact that according to Mattel, Barbie and Ken broke up in 2004 for 7 years?
No.
That's true.
2004?
In 2004, they broke up for 7 years. And Barbie took up with a guy named Blaine Gordon, a surfer from Australia.
I hate him.
Blaine,
I want to beat him, but I hate him.
I see Barbie's off on the street. She's not got Ken on her arm. I'm going to surf over there and see if I can't charm her. An Australian surfer. Come on, Barbie. By the way, did you know that Barbie is from right across the state line in Wisconsin?
Oh, is she?
Barbie is a Wisconsin native.
I wouldn't have called that.
I wouldn't have called it either. Barbie has 7 siblings, kind of like this guy right here. She's got a sister named Skipper, a set of twins, Todd and Tootie. She's also got a cousin from England named Francie.
Well, don't we all?
I have a cousin in France named Englandy. Go figure. She's had over 250 careers since she launched back in the day.
She does it all.
She has an estimated 1 billion outfits.
Wow.
And if Barbie's dream house were real, probably cost about $16 million. So the fact that Barbie has 1 billion outfits, the fact that there's a list of Barbie facts tells me, yeah, it's probably a good idea to get a hold of that IP and make a movie about Barbie.
How many times has she been arrested? How many DWIs?
Barbie has.
Well, she's from Wisconsin.
Well, I was going to say they don't even. Yeah, if it's after a football game, you just drive slow and they just let you go, right? That's what I heard.
Wisconsin Barbie with her Green Bay Packer T-shirt on, jersey on backwards, a little messed up, hair's all messed up. Yeah, a little puke on the corner of her lip there. Yeah.
What are you saying about the girls from Wisconsin?
They're fun. I love them.
Having a good time?
Yeah, they of course they don't. They raise the bar.
I just want to say it's never been proven that Ken is Barbie's boyfriend. He's kind of just like a hanger-oner. He's just kind of around.
Just a boy toy.
In the background, lurking.
Well, I one thing I've learned since this movie came out, anecdotally, is that Ken has long been the butt of a lot of jokes. Like kids with their Barbies, they all just, no one likes Ken.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Ken.
I had no idea.
You got to go see this movie just for Ryan Gosling's
Steals the show.
Yeah,
that's the word on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the Ryan Gosling, at one time, a member of the Mickey Mouse Club, so singing and dancing's not new to him. True story. Little kid was a showman back in the day.
I guess Rob Thomas says he doesn't mind that his, what was his band, Matchbox 20? Mm-hmm. That song, Push.
Yeah.
I guess it's the butt of a joke in the movie. Did you know that, Candace?
No. Is it really?
Yeah, Ryan Gosling sings, as Ken, obviously, sings Push in kind of a funny, emotional way, they say.
If Rob Thomas, he could literally say, "Give me a nickel for every ticket sold," and that'd just be all over again. just gold coins raining down on him for writing that song. Be fantastic. All right, well, so looking ahead, got 2 movies to see. Candace, you've seen one of them. We've all got 2 movies to see within the next few weeks. Let's give ourselves a couple weeks, just to be honest, to be realistic. But let's go see these 2 movies.
I'll tell you what, it's supposed to be 100 tomorrow, something like that.
It's gonna get up
90s.
there. Yeah.
Thinking a nice cold movie theater, one of those lounger chairs that recline.
Might have to do it.
All right,
fair enough. We got a plan. Let's look back.
I dig music. I dig sports.
This is history.
Really?
Sports history on June 25th. Not really a sports story, kind of an adjacent. It's a sports story. The San Diego Padres had a baseball game that day. I don't know who they played. I don't care.
All right.
What I care about is the fact that it was on this day in 1990, 33 years ago, that Roseanne Barr sang that national anthem.
Oh, jeez.
Remember? Oh, we all remember. Ooh.
Where's Ryan Gosling when you need him?
No kidding. That is not the sound of someone backing over their cat's tail. That is Roseanne Barr singing the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh,
God.
President George Bush Sr. said it was disgraceful. She got the president pissed off.
Yeah.
Whew. Oh, Roseanne.
Yeah, he didn't raise his voice very often, as I recall.
No, not very often. Yeah. Not like she did. Roseanne, we hardly knew ye. Actually, we did. We hardly miss ye, I think would be
there you go.
The question.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.